Well, folks, my retrospective through the original Mega Man decalogy is complete. Mega Man 11 just released, and I also missed a Skulltula, and this is the Mississippi King welcoming you back to more Let's Play Ocarina of Time. And in this episode, we'll be doing a few things. I mean, I got that Skulltula right there, but we're also going to do another archery game and get both rewards from it. We'll also finish up the Biggoron side quest, but yeah, we're done with the retrospective through the original Mega Man decalogy. Yes, that's apparently the term for a series of 10 works. It's like trilogy, but for 10. And now it's a decalogy. I'm just using that because it's a ridiculous word that I can't believe exists. And now that we're done with that, I'm going to be spending more time working on some Ocarina of Time videos. And right here, we're actually missed another gold Skulltula. So, yeah, 2 here. But, yeah, now that we're done, well, you'll have to wait until Mega Man 11 until my LP of that comes out to see what I think about that. Well, like, you'll have to wait until then to hear my thoughts on this, but anyway, we need a horse here in order to do the archery game. It's actually a pretty decent game, I'll admit, but this is why I have the Sun Song, because it's very convenient. And I'm sure it'll go pretty well. I'm not expecting to, like, get it, like, my first try or so, but I mean, I've got so many rupees, it'd be a wonder if I don't manage to get the reward. But, yeah, we're practically done with the classic Mega Man series. Can you believe that? I mean, soon we're going to get to, like, the final game in the newly formed decalogy. Yes, I insist on using that word because of just how ridiculous and silly it is. And it's, I've been practicing it a lot, so expect some pretty good playing from me, and yeah, I'm not going to be going through it blind, because, like, Mega Man games just aren't the type that you go in blind. I mean, you can do it, but it's like I prefer to get a feel for it beforehand, and that's kind of that's my strategy for it. But I digress. Let's actually talk about the game for once. It has some interesting side quests. I mean, the side quests in this game are not my favorite in the series. I mean, if we're talking about that, then it would probably have to go to Majora's Mask. Also, I would argue Twilight Princess had some great ones as well. And to some extent, I'd argue the Wind Waker as well. But I digress. That's neither here nor there. But I do enjoy this game's side quests. They're not amazing, but they get the job done. And they definitely do add flavor to this game's world. And that's one thing that I can respect about it. It's very well designed in that regard, and plus, it's designed in such a way that it can be paced fairly well, that you can control where you want to go and which ones you want to tackle first. I mean, for the most part. And some quests aren't that interesting. like fetching the dog, which we did a lot earlier. So the goal of this game is to hit all the bullseyes, as many as possible. You can get up to 100, like 1,500. And if you do that, you get another reward. Well, the first reward is a piece of art if you get 1,000. So, now that that's out of the way, I mean, let's give it another shot. Okay, wait a minute, why am I not on my horse? What happened? I was on my horse just a while ago. So I'm not? Well, I mean, I figure I may as well give it another shot. I'm sure it'll go over pretty well. That did not go over so well. You see, somehow, I had like 220 rupees, and, you know, now I have enough to play it one more time, but you see, the thing is, I caught some rupees all the way here, and, well, I failed that many times that I need to come here and get more rupees. If I have to edit some stuff out, then you can be sure I will. Seriously. The fact that I lost to that... Well, actually, it is kind of tricky, because you're constantly moving, and that can make it pretty difficult. But, yeah, it's not that easy, and it's annoying. So, anyway, the chest is around here somewhere. You just need to open it, and boom, it's like 200 rupees or so. That's gonna come in handy. The sad thing is, with how I've been performing, I may need that too.
But anyway, I guess it's time for a speed montage. Because screw doing crap like I don't want to have to like help the trip, but at the same time, it's gonna get pretty agonizing to watch. So I'm speeding this up. Believe me, it's quite the journey, and seriously, let's hope I won't need another huge rupee so that I can like actually get through the thing. This is just painful. Actually, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm running out of things to ramble about, but anyway, I just sort of need a rest from the Mega Man series. Not much of one. In fact, I may even get to Mega Man 11 this week, for all I know, but I've been practicing it a lot, and, you know, I'm good. Don't drink the green potions. It's serious. I screwed that up. Anyway, let's just head back to the thing. I should probably stop calling things the same, because that probably gets irritating pretty fast. Unfortunately, I have a car. I mean, it's like, there's no real warp zone that can effectively get you to it, get back to the Gerudo's fortress. Like, you can't really warp there effectively. And there is a warp zone that we'll be learning later on, but, well, actually, we'll probably be beginning our journey to get that zone in this very video. I mean, we're not just, like, going out of our way specifically just to get it. Although it is mandatory to beat the game. For a reason that we'll be discussing later on. But as I was saying, I can search around. Maybe there's something here. In this whole thing, in this, like... Actually, you know what, screw it. I must not get distracted along the way. I mean, thank goodness for the power of editing that allows me to speed this crap up. Because otherwise this would just be unwatchable. Like that time when NCS just suddenly started shouting, "What?" a bunch of times. Well, he didn't shout it, but he kept saying "what" a bunch of times in one of his runs of like, Ocarina of Time, and when, like, after a... Excuse me, I'm tripping over my words today. But after a point, it got to, like, where the word "what" sounded like it was a foreign language word. I'm serious, it just felt really weird, and it did not sound, like, that good. It just sounded bizarre and alien. The term for that, by the way, is jamais-vu. I don't speak French. If someone would care to enlighten me over this, then I would much appreciate it. Instead, like how it's pronounced or whatever. We made it! We're back!
So now let's give this another shot. No pun intended, but... yeah, now I have enough rupees to hopefully make it. Let's hope. And, well, that did not turn out so good. Because I did not make the cut. Hopefully I'll get it this time. Although, with the way I've been playing, that's doubtful too. Of course, then again, I have the power of editing. The almighty editing powers, which can allow me to control time and space within the video. And make it noticeably more bearable to watch. And you just keep on firing at them bullseyes, which is easier said than done. And if you get 1,000, then that's good enough. Then 1,500, that is. And are you kidding me? Second try after I got that gold, that big rupee? Seriously? I got it like my second try. You mean to tell me that I could have just gotten a couple 20 rupees? Whatever. I mean, it's not bad to have that anyway, because you never know what may happen. After all, I did accidentally drink that green potion on the way back. But next up, we'll actually try to cross the Gerudo Desert, or rather, what I should do first is head to Death Mountain. And, you see, what I think I'll do is I'll just play the Sun Song multiple times, and that should, like, trigger the end of the cutscene, or, I mean the end of the quest, and he'll, like, Biggoron will be done with his work on the Biggoron sword. So, with that, then we'll be able to collect it, and it's the strongest sword in the game, but there is one downside: you can't block with it. And so I'll just cut till when we get there. No saying much to that. Just see you then, folks. We're back, folks. And I cannot believe it's taken me this long to get the Biggoron sword. Like 10 parts away from the end of the game or so. And we're actually getting pretty close to the end of the game, so that's not too bad. But, yeah, now we have the Biggoron sword, and it's gonna help in a few places, and it has a humongous range, and it's also pretty fast, too. But, again, watch out, because you can't block with it. Well, you can't block while it's out. You can block with it if you put it away, but that's not what I'm talking about. I mean, like, that can make combat a bit more about dodging and less about, like, actually blocking. But, you know, you'd think I'd prefer the Biggoron sword, but actually I kind of prefer the Master Sword. And I just think the Master Sword is better. Also, we're back here at the Gerudo's fortress. And with this we can actually progress. Well, I mean, you don't need the Biggoron sword to progress. As far as I know, it's actually an optional item. But no, now that we have the membership card, we can progress. And now that that's out of the way, we can get farther. But as I was saying about the Master Sword, I just kind of prefer it, which is funny because, like, normally I'm, like, the kind of person who's, like, I don't think of myself much as a defensive player. I'm the kind of player who prefers agility and speed over, like, raw strength, over, like, power, or over defense. I just think agility and speed makes it much more fun to play than like simple defense or offense, because it's like an enemy can have the best attack power in the world, but if it can't hit me, then, well, then it won't be able to do much with that. And so with agility, I can actually dodge their ridiculous attacks. And meanwhile, I can have the best attack power in the world, but if I ain't got the agility and speed to hit people with it, then it doesn't really matter. It's kind of why I prefer agility and speed, but also I just think it makes the game funner and more interesting, and so you'd think I'd prefer the Biggoron sword because it does make your sword more agile, it makes it quicker to attack, and it also helps with, like, making the game more about dodging, but the thing is, like, I'm not a huge fan of the way dodging works in this game, and also I keep falling into them pitfalls right there. Falling into pitfalls, yes, that is absolutely correct. I mean, for the Haunted Wastelands, that's where we are now. I used to think that you needed the hover boots in order to get past it, but no, it turns out you actually don't need that. You don't need it at all. And you can actually just go without the thing, and it's... and the hover boots are not actually necessary to cross the gap at the beginning. You just need the long shot, which at this point in the game you should have. I mean, how did you get this far if you lack it? But I digress. Let's actually get through the wasteland itself and not fumble around like a fool, because, like, there is actually a path through this. And you do need the Lens of Truth, but for that you can get that without ever having ventured into the Shadow Temple. You see, I used to think that, like, you had to do the Shadow Temple first, which left me confused when the order for the medallions was swapped, because it's like the Shadow Medallion was at a place that was, like, later. It was like it was past the circle, the part in the circle of them that you'd expect it to be if you're supposed to beat it first. And partly why I'm tackling the Spirit Temple first is just for narrative reasons. I think it's kind of more fitting for me to, like, tackle the Spirit Temple first, because that makes it more interesting when in the final conversation between Link and the Shadow, like, the Sage, Link and the final Sage, according to what I'm going to be playing through. I don't want to spoil it, but that conversation, I think, has more weight to it if you leave the Shadow Temple for last. But again, it's actually optional to tackle. Like, you can choose either one to do first, and that's nice. It's good that they allow you the choice between several dungeons. You know, I'm not the biggest proponent that, like, Zelda games should be, like, always non-linear all the time, but it's like, it's nice to have it, but it's not, like, necessarily mandatory, and, like, sure, I do think Skyward Sword is kind of lessened and weakened by its, you know, linearity, but it's not, like, it's never really something that I think absolutely breaks the game, and I don't much care for, like, how restrictive Skyward Sword can be, and in some instances it's understandable why they'd limit it, why it would be like you'd have to follow a specific route, but in others it just makes absolutely no sense. But so that's just my thoughts on the matter. And right now, we're following a ghost, or like it's our guide through the haunted wasteland. It's a Poe, actually. So you gotta be fast in order to catch it. And also, you may not want to, like, analyze it because that can happen. You can end up deactivating the Lens of Truth. But you don't want to go too fast, otherwise you turn into, like, no, you do not turn into supersonic by going really fast, but don't go, like, supersonic fast, or Super Saiyan fast. Dang it. I cannot escape any video without making a Dragon Ball Z reference these days, can I? I am so sorry. I did not intend for this channel to turn into Dragon Ball memes. And now I can't seem to avoid making them. But, well, we're finally here. We've reached Phalanx. No, I mean the Desert Colossus. And the Desert Colossus is one of the more interesting sites and locations in Ocarina of Time. Because that's where we fight the best boss fight in the game, which is Phalanx. No, actually it's someone else, and that boss fight is not actually the best in the game. Interesting, but I wouldn't say it's my favorite in the game. I mean the boss of the Spirit Temple, that is. I don't know if I've made that clear. Speaking of speed, by the way, I guess the reason that I tend to prefer speed and agility over raw power or defense is maybe just because I've played, like, Sonic games since I was a kid, and, like, that experience, it's helped me enjoy going really fast, and I just find it very fun to, like, use my agility to, like, dodge things, and there's just something that feels very satisfying about dodging something as opposed to, like, blocking it or defending against it. Especially if it's, like, really fast and it's coming at you, like, at breakneck speeds. That happens a lot in Mega Man 11, but we'll get to that later. But now we've received Nayru's love, and I'll explain it more, well, I'll show it off in the next episode, presumably, but basically it forms a protective barrier at the cost of some magic. It'll look like you're hit, but you're not. Anyway, that will be it for this video. This is the Mississippi King signing out, and in the next episode we'll continue to progress. See y'all then.